Okay. I see a 276 Shadower.
Yes, at 90%. So
90%. Okay.
So yeah, I still didn't do the tomato festival, so probably 277 by Sunday.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, the Tomato Festival is a nice chunk of EXP, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think everyone over like level 270 enjoys the hell out of that. So what kind of stuff are you doing these days? Like, what can I do for you today? Because you signed up, right? You went through the YouTube giveaway.
Mhm.
Welcome for that,
Yeah.
and thanks for joining in on that. And yeah, I mean, I gave you like a little bit of template. You wrote some questions on below here, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So it's okay. I've been playing. I've been one of those seasonal players. That hey, played a while, then just left, then come back again. But
Mm-hmm.
ever since I think it's Savior when Kali was released, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Uh,
All the
yeah.
sand.
So yeah. So ever since that, I began playing. So like every day, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my first character that was able to pass even like 230, because before I had like a Mercedes that she was hyper burned, but when I got to, I didn't understood the game a little bit, so not quite a lot actually. So when
Mm-hmm.
I got to Latchling, I wasn't able to kill the mobs, and I didn't quite understand the arcane force and stuff. So yeah, I
Okay.
got stuck on that, and I just like, yeah, quit the game there. And she still, and the thing is, she's still the character that has my one droid heart, so that kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. We only got the one, and then
Yep.
yeah, yeah. That's
Because she was the only
small thing.
character I had above 200 at the time, so
Oh yeah,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
All this Legion was during those events where they were giving bonks left and right, so
Yeah, they were free basically to. Yeah,
yeah.
you got all
So
the.
I got enough that if you go down there a little bit, I even made a noblesse. Like
Oh
shoot.
yeah, I had one of those. Yeah, I got rid of it for character space, but I had one for a bit as well. Yeah, I also ran out of things to do, so I was like, oh fuck it, might as well make one of those.
Yeah, just to get the
Relatable.
achievement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
But
Yeah, there's like a. Well, you're not going for the 250 achievement, right?
uh yeah, I am thinking about that later, but like just for
Way later.
pots. Just yeah, it's just for pots, but Legion
Yeah.
comes first, right? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't count in legions, so it's not very useful.
That is very important. They should give a special Legion if you get like just 50, because that achievement itself doesn't give you enough, right? Have a
Mm-hmm.
Noblesse Legion or something, a Beginner Legion that gives attack or something. Because I don't know.
Yeah. That's an idea. So now you're really dedicated to the Shadower as your main character?
Yeah, so I even, as you can see there, I started liberating this month.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do my first clear.
Very nice.
And and so the thing that now I'm a little bit stuck, as you can see, is pretty much Starforcing and like where to spend my money, So
Mm-hmm.
pretty much I was able to get like a lot of different items, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one set for mobbing, which has the 100 meso drop, but I think it has like 140 drop on it. Then I also have a 200 drop with grid pendant. I'm not sure if those work together, but might as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we think it does, but yeah, we'll never know for sure unless someone data mines it to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
You got
So
you got 4 double items.
Sorry?
You got 4 double line items.
Yep.
No. So your highest combo is like with 80. What was it, like 8 lines? 8 and 5? So like one. Is it 160 and 5? Or do you switch to Spirit Pendant then?
No, I don't. Since I don't really grind on the game pretty much, so I don't really do sprint pennant.
I see.
But yeah, and so this is another thing of pretty much the income is very limited because I only do bossy meals, right?
Gotcha.
So I got down to the number. It's if I do all bosses, a solo and everything, even though some take time, so I don't usually do those. I come around to 9 bill, but then I also do Ursus and then kind of rounds up to close to 10 bill, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, my pretty much my main question is okay, so uh, where do I go from here pretty much because starting to feeling of course stuck on the pitch waiting room, right? So and I'm I think I'm ready to try Seren, but I never like really tried or something, so always been kind of afraid to try new bosses and stuff because I was before, right? So one of those players that it's either burst or just don't do the boss,
Okay, yeah. Which works for a
Uh,
while, but not all the way. Eventually it
yeah,
stops
definitely.
working.
Yeah, especially when you're gonna try Black Mage, right? So and
Yeah.
even still, if you see, I put my BA there. Uh, I could have done like way sooner, but you kind of too scared to try. I was like, I'll try next month. I'll try next month, and that ended up like like I I think I did my first try in I think it was in March, but like I felt like I didn't do well enough. I wasn't quite. I was getting stuck in P3 pretty much, right? To with the kick and trying to just join random parties, no voice, and yeah, you get lost in those like really quick.
Yeah, that's tricky, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So now you feel more
so
confident, like more competent as well in the runs? Like
yeah,
you're contributing
after
well?
like yeah, so I was able to blue dot at least on the last one, even though there was a 200 million CP. I think it was a Kaiser, I think, or something. Forgot
Probably.
who
One of
it was,
those
but
OP classes, yeah.
yeah, very OP class. Just someone very lucky and that just got all their pitches and got to 22. So yeah, and then but I was still what I was still like fine that I was able to at least get blue dot even though I was you know getting carried. So I think at that moment I stopped and said, okay, yeah, maybe I can do this. So I'm waiting for next week now to try my second one, but it was a random carry that I just
Yeah, it's
joined
gonna be with a different
through.
party.
Yeah, so then I'm gonna try and catch another party to see if try to not get carried, pretty much.
Yeah. Find more people like around your combat power, around the same level of progress, yeah. It was a lot easier before when everyone was just like starting up Black Mage and there were not that many liberated people, but now there's so many liberated people, like pretty much always every party composition there's gonna be like some liberated person, some stronger person in there. It's almost inevitable. People who are still like, running to try to get the badge, like they can't do extreme Black Mage yet, but they want to get like badge priority, so they kind of want to be the carry so that they can use that to leverage getting like badge priority and stuff like that. So it's
Which makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so now that I'm pretty much stuck on trying to 22 star or raise my Starforce now, because that's the only pretty much game I can see without spending like billions and billions on cubes trying to get 3-line things. Even though my stuff is pretty much only 21, and the only 22 item I have, as you're gonna see, is the superior earring. And that's because of my Laza version, actually. Because what it ended up happening, I had like an extra superior. I got, as you can see, I still have a lot of spares for the reinforced. So what I did is I got the spare one to 21. Then I said, hey, might as well tap it, and then I got the one I was equipped out to 22. So then I tried to 21 my Stella earring because I just I have an extra 21 transposed to Stella. It boomed first tap, so
Rip.
you know you win some, you lose some.
You didn't want to just turn it into, excuse me, turn it into like a drop or meso earring right there because it was already 21.
Yeah, I didn't quite think about that because I already have I think that my Stella is too lined with Mezzo, so I felt like might as well keep it,
Yeah,
And the
because
other
right now
one
it
I
doesn't
would
matter
have
as much,
to-
but if you're a character that relies a little bit more, especially with like the killing in the higher level areas off of like particle effects, right? You got the meso explosion that if you
Yeah.
just go into a new area right when you get access to it, it's probably too weak to kill. So having stronger, I mean that was your goal, right? To make stronger drop or meso gear. But
Yep.
I'm always looking at like what do I already have in hand, like what's already guaranteed versus what is not guaranteed yet.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So, but anyway, it's a little bit hindsight, right?
Uh,
It's like I don't want to be like, oh, that was a horrible decision because it boomed. Like you didn't know it was gonna boom.
Yeah, kind of running off the high of the 22, so that happened. So like,
You end up
nothing
with
can
a-
stop me immediately.
Immediately
Just one
stopped.
tap. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, just when you think you're ahead, yeah. That's why they have the saying, right? Quit while you're ahead. That's what that is referring to.
Yep, yeah, pretty much.
Don't try to tempt fate.
Yeah, last SSF, I was able to get some gains. I 20'd my black bean mark. Like I have pretty much two black bean marks because I never drop a pep mark on this character with 350 drop rate, but my Mercedes has two with 20% drop rate. So
Sounds fair.
Mules never, Mules never struggle, and
Nope, they don't.
and so I got like a 20 the secondary, the Deimos shield. I got lucky with a 21 Twilight mark, and I've been saving to try and 22 it. Maybe this, but I was wondering. Okay, so I know I heard you said before, like let your inventory dictate your upgrades, right? So I'm tempted to go because I have two superior and a lot of pink ping belts. I'm trying to go to 21 at least superior belt, and since
Yeah,
I have
because
a
I
lot
see
of
you have
PT,
you have a trace there. And you have right now an 18. Like what was your process so far on the superior belt?
same thing I was trying to do. So got to 21, right? Got the pink bill belt to 21. Then I transposed the to superior. Then trying to go to 21, it boomed.
Yeah. Okay. But then you still end up with an 18. So did you just like tap it on just because you were mad that it boomed?
I actually had that before because I misstepped.
Okay. As you do. Yeah.
When when you're just clicking and not really looking or paying attention, and then I was like, oh shoot, hoping that doesn't boom, and then it goes and like, okay, stopping.
Yep. Okay, stopping. Yep. Okay. Yeah. No, that's that seems like the right the idea. Yeah. So there's three major things, right? There's the flames, there's the potential, and there's the star forcing.
Yep.
If you're looking at, if I'm just looking through everything, what is like when you're training and like your kill speed? Is that all fine? Can you like train? Well, you don't train as much, but like if you're doing your dailies,
like on Sojanus on I think it was Summer 5. I'm currently doing because I still do the I buy the Legion Mezzo and drop to at least do 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can get 17k. So the Mezzo explosion is killing just fine. So like I said, I made some sure gains on the grinding, like so. I think at least all my arcane are 18, except on the shoes 19.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just selected the meso at the time, so now it's stuck, waiting for another try. And then I'm thinking, okay, so what's the next step? Arcane 19, or CRA 22, or Twilight Mark 22.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like where do I go from here, right?
Okay, well, I would say general order from here, I would say would be to, so you always look at the backups, right? So first backups like OCRA, you have the most, plus if you can use it at the star that you get it to, then that has priority over dropping it down 1 star, right? Until you have potentially the backup. So like what you were doing with the belt, and then the same thing hopefully with the ring, I would say that's like the next thing to do. So like 21 fodder into the superior, and then try to tap the superior to 21 before switching over if you have at least the backup. So you have 2 now. So I would do that like on the backup, see if you can get the belts. Make sure like I would probably do normal ping bean daily just to get as many as you can, right? Because if you get unlucky, you could have like 8 or 9 booms, and then you might not even get up there, or maybe the first one goes to 21. Like who knows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would keep the reinforced if you see them, and keep as many ping bean belts as possible. Get a 21, get it into the 20 superior. Try to tap the superior to 21, just like you already did. And if it doesn't go, you could try again. And if it doesn't go, you keep your current one. And if it does go, then you switch, and then you can just unequip your current one, and then your current one can become a backup for later for 22. If that was like the last thing to get to 20 or to 21, then I would say probably try to go straight for 22 before you even commit to the potential. But I think there's like still a bunch of other stuff that's like on the same level to work on. So I probably, since you have 2, I would go for the 21 tap like you did. So I think that's the right strategy. That's why I was, just checking what you were already doing. So I think you're definitely on the right track with that. And then for the ring, how are you looking for potential like backups? How are you looking for Gollux coins and stuff like that?
I have 1.5k.
Okay.
Right, so I have
buy
an
2.
extra ring I can buy and an extra pendant I can buy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and those are both 17, right? And you have
Yep. Yeah, I have 4 Dom pendants, right? So my Dom pendant is already 21, the one I'm equipped, and then I can try to do the same, the same thing, but Dom pendant, it's for some reason it's harder to drop for me than Twilight Marks, as you can see.
I would say they're probably more rare, yeah. Well, because also for Twilight Marks, they drop from 2 different bosses, right? So they end up overscaling. Even though it's a weekly versus a daily, they still win somehow, yeah. Although you're probably a little bit over average on the Twilight Marks, it looks like. The thing with the Dominators is there's multiple options, right? You could do 21 now. To see if you can make a 21, go into the superior, sit on 20, wait until you have more backups. How's it like with Fihela? Are you doing those bosses like because moving towards Saren and then the Daybreaks come in, right?
Yeah, I'm doing Satani, but party, so drops is blink, right? But besides that, I really like. I guess I don't really have any other like noticeable drops that I can get. Maybe besides getting a random picked.
Yeah.
I do solo, for example, H-Lomian, right? So if anything drops, it's mine, so that's fine. But besides that, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can use that to kind of like ride up the. Well, I guess the the Black Beat marks no longer necessary if you have the 20, but like the Twilight marks, you can kind of use the Berserk to see if you can use that to push the. I would probably do that, like wait around for that before like tapping stuff 22 now, because you still have those big things, right? You still have the pendant to do and the belt to do and the and you have the earring. What's the other one? The ring to do, right?
Yeah.
Kind of treasure rings is decent, and you have 1 Meister. Should be.
Yeah, the Meister is just a random one. It's I think it's on the bossing because I have one and then I have an extra. So I haven't been the most diligent at farming. So those grand spell essences are a
Mm-hmm.
bit tricky to get for me.
Yeah, they're tricky. Have you checked all of your characters to see if you have some spare lying around?
Yeah. I have a tendency to just put my
Throw it in
storage keep
storage?
is just
Yeah,
all. Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, it's always full
That's a good
because
habit.
yeah.
For those resources, right? So you have a clear vision on like this is how much you have. Like my mom likes to put some money on some mules to keep something for a rainy day, but then when an event comes, you don't know which upgrade is a reasonable upgrade to go for if you can't really see this is how much money you actually have at your disposal, because eventually you're going to forget, like, did I take that money out? Did I leave that? How many characters did I put some money on? It's better to just throw it all in storage and just see how much you have. And learn to resist just clicking things and just spending. I guess I think that's a better habit to get into than just put it all over your account so that you don't spend it, but then also you don't really know what is a reasonable project to work on.
So I got the habit of just spending on event at least
Yeah.
because, like I said, my income isn't that great, so I try to get as much out of it as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a few things for the fundamentals. But yeah, so Starforce wise, definitely work on the. Those would be the projects first to try to get. So I would look for like 20,
The superior
20
belt, right? 20 superior belt.
Yeah, 21 belts, and then like try to go for 20 ring probably first, and then dependent after that if you have like the money. So with dependent, there are options. What people will mostly do, so you can do that if you want to, is first they'll wait to see if they can hit like a daybreak at 21 or 22, and then put that one in, so that the extra set bonus with the with the twilight mark and with the slime ring and everything, that closes that deal, and then that makes the dominator available, and then you can just immediately transfer hammer the dominator into the superior. However, you have like it's a nice flame, but you have like a really good potential on it as well. So you might want to consider just keeping that one and trying to do another one on the side, right? And then if you hit a daybreak, try to do that one on the side, because if source comes, you're eventually still gonna have to transfer dominator then into another source into the superior into the source, right? So it's not necessarily a waste to just do another dominator or to wait for a daybreak. So there's no real pressure there. But because you have more rings than dominators, I would do belts first, then the rings, then the pendants, essentially.
Yeah, I think keeping still those reinforced earrings. Since I already have a 22 superior, do you think I should just drop them, or should I try to do the Stella earring transposing again?
Well, just to be clear, like the transposing is in Commercy, right?
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
are
Sorry.
so transfer hammer. Yeah. Yeah, no worries. I personally rather just use get like a whole bunch of either like Will-o'-the-Wisps or Deocidus earrings and get like a 20-star of those, rather than mess with the Estella rings personally, or like what I was mentioning before, like once you do get a 22 earring, like end up with a 20 or a 21 earring, make another one on the side. If it goes 22, switch over, and then make the 21 immediately into the drop or the meso gear, and never do Estella earrings personally. I just feel like Estellas are in a weird position. If you want to, you can, but I think what's probably best for Estella earrings is that you just get more Estella earrings through drops, and then whenever there's an event and you have nothing else to really work on, that you just run those up, basically. When you have like 8 or so of those earrings and you just like brute force it up to 21 during a 5, 10, 15 or a shining. When, you're waiting for 21 to 22 arcanes or something, right? Which is something that you want to save a whole lot of backups for, so that you don't have to buy any extra, because that's always so pricey.
Yeah, and another question regarding that, because I'm trying to at least get 19 into 19 arcanes, right? I think it's the first stepping point, and then going for 21, right? How many backups do you think I need to have to go for the 21s?
Yeah, so 19 typically just one backup is enough, right? You could just try, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, you just get back up to 17. It's pricey, but you can try. But this is why I think it's also a good idea to have most of your other stuff probably all already like 20 or 21 before running up the arcanes past 17, just because it can get so much pricier. Plus, that gives you more time to have more backups. You have 2 backups. I would say that should be enough to get everything up to 19 mathematically. Going up from 19 to 21, for me, usually that's like around the 3 backup mark. So if you have like 1 more for each, I feel like that's pretty safe. But like always, right, 1 or 2 items are probably going to go without... 1 is probably going to go without a boom, 2 are probably going to go with 1 boom, and 1 is not going to go. But that's just...
One is gonna single tap, and the other ones are gonna have like 5, 6 booms.
Yeah, that's just how it's going to be. So it's good to not see them as like the same group that is the same level of priority, but not to see them as just because 1 goes, they all should go. But again, always look back at the inventory and look back at the amount of backups and see if it makes sense at that time. Because going from like 19 to 21 on the arcanes and going into like 22 CRA is typically that's around the same time. So if you end up running out of arcane backups, instead of like brute forcing and buying more arcanes, going from 18 or from 19 back down to 17, losing those 2 stars, again, you're compensating that with other items going from 19 to 21, so they will end up at a net plus. It's probably better if you're a little bit lower on money and it becomes riskier to hit that goal with the arcane, that it's maybe a better idea to maybe get the CRA from 21 to 22 instead to get that done.
Yeah, and that was my next question. Okay, so in matters of priority then, so we're talking about then Golux belt, then Golux ring, then maybe Golux pendant, right? Depending on how it goes with the dominators. And after that, okay, so let's say everything is 21 now, except, arcanes. Should then I go then 22 CRA before I try 21 arcanes then?
Yeah, so I would do definitely 19 arcanes, and then whether you do, then you probably do 22 CRA, unless you get lucky in arcane backups, and then you could try 21 arcanes as well. But most people will end up doing 22 CRA first, just because wait longer for more backups, and since your income isn't like 50 mil a week, it's 50 mil a week, more closer to 10, so it's probably going to be CRA first to 22, yeah. And then that gives you a little bit more time, maybe wait for the next Shining, because I would say like Shining is a very good event for getting things from 21 to 22, because typically that's just like finishing items off, and it's more like a want than a need most of the time. And also for getting arcanes past 19 or doing Eternals, Shining is really good just because it's just so expensive otherwise. So if you are able to kind of do everything around, your level and you're kind of good, but the next upgrade is like, oh, I need to do arcanes, but, next Shining is in like 2 months. If you think about it, you could be like, okay, I can make the upgrade now and just make everything a little bit faster. Or if you wait 2 months, you can get a whole bunch of discount on it. You probably have more backups by then as well, so you can make it lower risk. And now you have more money left to put into finishing up your potentials, maybe getting more flames, or putting it towards, if you're starting to do Hard Saren, that probably means that you can start doing E-Kalos as well, to start putting that towards Eternals. Because Eternal attempts can be very expensive as well. And it's going to be saving up months for you to be able to like afford the tab, unless you're lucky and it booms quickly, but or it goes quickly, of course, on the off chance. But it's going to be a good idea, because you did mention it as well, right, there below, right? Like getting the weekly income up a bit is a good idea, because most people do it through grinding more. If you're not going to do that, you don't want to do that, but you do like the bossing, then scaling up in the bossing mules is going to be a decent idea. Plus that's going to cost you some money as well, not as much of course comparatively, but if you have like everything 21, arcanes 19, that's like a good time to really spend quite a bit on bossing mules instead, to bring that money back, because you'll just need time for backups, because 21 to 22 on all things is just very risky, and 19 to 21 is risky and pricey on arcanes. So it's a good idea to just have like a few months there where you're just really not spending, maybe cube sale, maybe working on the pots a little bit, but mostly funding the account to bring up your weekly income. See if you can bring it like towards like 15 to 20, and then that force, and then put that money with all the extra backups you got, and then see if you can do those more expensive upgrades on the main character.
Gotcha. Another question regarding then cubing. When is it you think it's a good time to start tree-lining?
So there's different stages there as well, I would say, right? When you're thinking about Starforcing, it's like this item first to 17, then goes to 19, then goes to 21, right? I would say for Starforcing, there's very similar goals, I would say. So when you say 3-lining, to me that means like just perfect 3-line, right? So like a weapon 33% attack or 30% attack emblem.
Maybe. Yeah, WSC first, maybe because I saw the prices for triple attack, right? And compared to triple stat on other equips, it's way cheap. Like you can get like maybe three line equips before you get one 3-line WSC.
Yeah, or even 4. But the question is like how much damage increase is that amount of luck versus how much damage increases that amount of attack, right? You always want to compare it, not like the amount of items, but the amount of damage you're getting. That's always the bottom line you want to refer to. But so before 3-lining, there's also like getting, in the beginning you get to legendary, you probably get at least 21%, like 18 or 21%. But then there's also getting 24%, there's also getting 27%, and then there's getting 30 eventually, and then, maybe even 33 if you're crazy like that. But having everything be at like 24 to 27 is very high efficiency. So I would say like 24 on all the CRA, 27 on all of the accessories, and like 30% on all the plus 160 pieces. That is, in terms of like money spent, is a very, very efficient point. And if you can do the math on like looking at all the items, but that's probably something like 80% luck gained or something, and that would be way cheaper per luck gained than if you're trying to specifically chase that 3-line. I think if you have, so like truly rudimentary, like if it's like CRA, I see 21, you go from 19 star to 21, then I would consider making it legendary. Before that, I will have it like a 19 star would have it unique, 17 star or lower, for me it would be epic, basically. And then once it goes legendary, first you just go for the 21, and then or maybe even an 18, depending on if it's like a side character or like a main character. And if it's if you're thinking about going for 22, then that's the green light for me to push it for like 24 to 27%. And then when everything in your account is basically 22 and everything else is 3-line, then last and also least, CRA finally gets to be 3-line, basically, because of the positioning where it's at, just of the cost of the Starforcing, right? So sorry, not of the Starforcing, of the cubing, because different items have different amounts of junk lines. So they will gain 3% or 4% or 7% or 10% luck, whatever it is, right? But it won't cost the same on every item to make that upgrade. So there's also an order there in terms of the gains that you make. So I would probably say that if your items are already legendary, which they all are, right? Yeah, you have some unique 21%. I think that's really good, right? Because if you're aiming for 21 and you get it on unique, why pay the money to go up to legendary, right? Especially if it's superior stuff and you're going to transfer hammer and lose the potential anyway. So that's really good. But like on your earring, for example, since it's already 22, that would be one where I would be okay with just rolling and try to aim for at least for 27. Because the Starforce is already done, so you're never going to be rolling over that, right? But in your current Superior Golix ring, even though they have the same level and they have the same potential for gains and the same cost, because they have the same junk lines, I would do the earring, yes, but the ring definitely no, right? Because it's not finished yet, because it's still going to be transfer hammered over and everything. Yep. So that's how I'm looking at all the individual pieces. But then there's, besides the different groups, there's also the different lines. So you're looking at the WSE as well. So 3-lining, like you said, 3-lining WSE, it is definitely, there's efficiency there because of attack, but it is very expensive. The emblem is the cheapest in terms of the gains you can make versus the cost. The weapon is second, and then the secondary is last. However, the secondary has the benefit of you being able to make another secondary and just roll on there to see if you hit something nice. This is why a lot of people, especially with shields, sometimes leave the shields at like 17 star for a while until they roll a really good potential. Typically something like 2-line attack and 1-line boss at least, and then commit to the Starforce on that piece to get it to 20, because you can easily just make 2 of them, make them legendary, and you just roll with regular cubes without having to have the full budget. You might be lucky. But if you only have 1, like with the emblem, you'll need to wait either until you get the Saren emblem, and then this one is, completely useless, basically. But then you have to get lucky on that item. You have to have the full budget, or more than the budget in case of bad luck, in case of just being above average in amount of cubes that you need. Otherwise, you end up with sometimes less than what you started with, right? There's very few outs above 2-line attack that are really better. You have 2-line attack with a line of damage, maybe with a line of crit, maybe with a line of stat, maybe with a line of ID, right? Those are kind of like the only extra ones besides the 3-line attack. So emblem, that's usually around 42 bill, I believe, or on a sale, something just north of 30 bill. That's a good benchmark to keep in your head, where like that's usually a project that I look for once all the other stuff is, like 19 arcane, 21 everything else, basically, right? And everything has like 2.5 lines, so like 2 main stat of luck and 1 line all stat. Then usually right after that is when I look for those big upgrades, WSE, and there's 2 extra exceptions there to WSE. There's also the glove and the hat, right? Because for you, hats with cooldown reduction, right? And glove for double crit, yeah. So double crit glove is definitely before thinking about 3-line emblem and getting a good cooldown reduction hat as well. Now I don't know the exact details for Shadower. I believe you want. Is it the more the better, or is like 3 seconds?
Kind of the more the better, but like at least 2 seconds is the kind of the required one. But I still haven't, like, since I got 2 primes there as like 24, I'm like, yeah, I'm just keeping it.
Yeah. So that could be something to work on. So cube sales, you know when the cube sales usually are?
Every 6 months, give or take.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so next one usually around end of November, right? So that's pretty far away. Those are good events for me. Like, those are good events to look for those perfect 3 lines. But off of that, cubing you can basically do whenever. So I would always do it if you look at the sunny Sundays. Yeah, you see that there's no Starforce event coming, or there is a Starforce event coming, but you don't really have the money to commit to the projects that make sense for your character. Then it's fine to just spend some on cubing and just to make some upgrades, essentially. So if the item is already committed and it's already 22, then it's higher priority. If it's an item that has a low amount of junk lines, then it's also higher priority. So heart is actually one of the highest priorities, has one of the lowest amount of junk lines. So if you're gonna get
and it's also one that you're pretty much never gonna change, right?
Yeah. So heart is like very high on the. It's gonna be the first one to 24 out of everything, ideally, right? Financially, but something else could get lucky, of course. First one to 27, first one to 30, and could be the first one to 33, although that will depend then on how much pitch you have, and if you have the damaged black heart from Lotus instead. Extreme Lotus is going to come out. It's going to have its own pitch heart, right? So that meta is going to change a little bit. So people might not necessarily be going for 33% heart anymore. But regardless, that's pretty far away from you. But still, like, if you're going for 24 to 27, right? Basically, just like perfect 3-line minus 3% as a goal. It's going to be hard first, then all the accessories, and then basically the high-level items. So then it's going to be basically then everything else, right? There's some order in there, like shoes are about the same as pants, I believe, and then shoulders are a little bit better, and then it's cape, I think. But you can throw that into the calculator if you want to see the number. I guess we could do that now. But I believe bottom and if you go for...
And shoe have a lot of... Yeah, I know shoe has a lot because it has jump and speed, and it has a lot of junk lines.
Oh no, shoes 269. Does the same as shoulder, maybe? Oh no, 210. And then, but then top is... See, then top is 406 for the same.
Yeah,
and then
yeah, but item level is 200 because it's
Yeah, that doesn't make as much of a difference. It's just a little bit more expensive per cube to reveal it, right?
Gotcha.
But then but to address what you're saying, then if I would put 200, then I wouldn't leave it at 27 plus, right? I would put it at 30 plus to be like equivalent level. Because then if you go for 27 plus, of course, that's like way cheaper. But this is like in the same way that you would look for a higher flame score on a higher level item. But that's within the same budget, because a higher level item will, with the same rarity, get a higher amount of stats on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it's all around weekly income, backups, when are the sunny Sundays, what's the next project for Starforcing. If you don't have enough backups, feel free to start cubing as long as the cube sale isn't nearby. If there is a sunny Sunday, do those projects first. If your items blow up and you're left with money, might as well cube. If you're not left with money, then save up again for the next one, and always be mindful of the shinings and the cube sales, essentially. The MMTs are going on right now, which could save some money, maybe on some mules here and there, but don't get baited into just making too many legendaries on items, because then you have to buy glowing cubes again to re-roll it and everything, so it can get very expensive. Plus, most boss mules, especially for you, where your account is at, won't need legendary stuff. Maybe just the weapon, secondary, and emblem, right? If everything else is like epic/unique with somewhere between like 6 to 12% stat on it, it'll probably be fine. Just have non-trash flames, have like 17 star on the stuff, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think most of mine have 16 star, because I just usually leave them at 16, 15, and then on the 5, 10, 15, I just, free 1 star. Just
free
do
tap,
it.
yeah.
And I have, the trickle down of the cubes, so some random item usually goes up, so a lot of items are unique. Unlike my hero, pretty much all my items I think are unique, except for like one pendant, because for some reason the pendant doesn't want to go up, right? So, but besides that, yeah. So, and this is another question. So you think after I 19 AU and 21, pretty much everything else, is that a good time then to start investing on the boss mules? And if so, how should I go about it? Because, like, do I set a percentage? Do I set a budget? Do I invest one at a time?
So that's around the time where, I think that would be a good time. Like I said, I think that's a good time because the upgrades then are going to either need a lot of backups. Well, they're going to need a lot of backups and also a lot of money. So that gives you a lot of time in between events, and you might have to skip events here and there where it just doesn't make sense for you to commit because you don't have the backups, right? You'll probably be skipping 30% offs mostly, and you'll probably be using those on more boss mules to just get items up to 15 and get them ready for 5, 10, 15s instead. And you're going to be mostly spending on cubing, probably trying to look for that double line crit damage on the gloves, and trying to look for the cooldown reduction on the hat, and then maybe the 3-line attack on the emblem, or 2-line attack with a line of IED, which would still be nice because IED is still very valuable, right? This far in the game. Maybe make a secondary on the side and roll like 2-line boss, 1-line attack, 2-line attack, 1-line boss, or something on that. So you don't have to use black cubes. Those are like the projects for your main character while you're just waiting. And then I would mostly work on the boss mules, So the thing I would put as a limiter for the boss mule is, first of all, like how much time do you want to spend on boss mules in total? So you said you had 6 now, right? You were thinking of adding more. If you're always before the end of the week very easily finishing up all your boss mules, and it never feels like too much of a chore, and there's never too much pressure, and you feel like you have time left and you can add more character, then add more characters, right? But I think the goal per character is usually to try to do as many bosses as you can within half an hour and within G skills. So try to also see if you can get all your characters in a guild and have G skills, because that's just a huge amount of funding that you won't have to do on the character in terms of money or nodes or whatever, because you'll just get that for free by having access to guild skills. Usually the only thing you have to do is run like a culvert and maybe a flag here and there, which even if you add it up over years is not nearly as much time as spending all that money on the character to get that much damage. So that's one, right? Like the half hour as the block, and then the G skills. Second thing is I would always look for either reinforced Golics or superior Golics. And that kind of ties into the second thing, is like determine how far you want to take a character. Because some characters are fun for bossing on, some are not, right? And it's okay to drop those and to look for something else. But if they're fun to boss on, some characters are not fun to do all bosses on. Maybe they're only fun up to like, you know, Akechi and CPAP, and then it's cool, but then it gets a bit too complicated if you want to do more. So you don't want to go into Lotus and Damien. That's fine. Then I'd probably say just like aim for Reinforced Skalix. That gives the ID, the boss damage, good accessories, and then you can also be done a lot faster. But if you're going to do Lotus and Damien, and you think you're going to push beyond regular normal Lotus and Damien, then I probably would not buy Reinforce and just hold on the coins and go for Superior instead. And the third thing that's really good funding is getting 2 familiars with 15% IED. So getting at least 1 badge completed, so you unlock the second slot, and then just reveal extra familiars that you have to get 2 15% ID familiars on your boss mules. That's very good baseline funding. And then, you know, then it goes into the money and into all of the resources you have. So I would fund to a character so that it has the position of doing the bosses that you want to do, and that it can do them within half an hour. So I'd always go by the experience of the character and not say like every item has to be 18 star, 12%, and has to have like a flame score of 85, because some characters will need that much, some characters will need more, and some characters will need less. And some characters will get lucky on an item, and then other stuff doesn't have to be as good. And some characters you want to do more bosses on. So I would boss on the character that you have and see, am I happy with what this character can do and with the time that it can do it in? If you feel like it's weak, then I would look at the resources you have available. And remember, that's mostly Mezzo, but it's not just Mezzo, right? It can be coupons, it can be buffs, it can be time, it can be nodes. And then fund the character as that character can be funded. So if a character has a good drop that you haven't used yet, maybe upgrade that drop with money. If a character gets more use out of the V matrix and you have some nodes, maybe fund it with a little bit more nodes. If the character is kind of fine where it is, you just want it to be a little bit stronger, maybe do symbol dailies and maybe Monster Park, and maybe just get some more levels on it so you have access maybe to an extra V matrix slot later, right? Maybe you get a few more levels, maybe an extra symbol, some more free stats from that, and then that's how you fund that character. So I'd like to always stay flexible in how you fund a character and not to get too hung up on like, I'm going to spend 25 bill, because that's the other thing, right? What if you want a certain level of funding for it and then you just get unlucky and some character you just have to spend twice the amount of money on? That just feels really bad. So it's more like, that's why I don't usually keep track either of like how much everything costs or how much new nodes I use exactly. I just throw on a character as long as it needs, and then when it can do what I want it to do in the time, you know, within a half hour, then I'm good, and then I stop. And everything after that is a bonus.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely feel that because, for example, I hyperburned a AB, right? And it feels weaker than my self-funded Dawn Warrior, you know? So if you go to I think it's Legion.
Yeah, levels aren't everything. But did you get the access to the 6th job?
With the Angelic Buster, not yet, and the Dawn Warrior is just, you know, way lower level.
Yeah, way lower. Yeah.
And for example, I don't have all of the. I think that, for example, I have like level 8 Arcane on him and like level 13 Arcane on AB, right? AB, I have Absolab and Dawn Warrior not, but for some reason my Dawn Warrior feels that can do things quicker, you know?
Yeah, it'll be better at some things, but probably be worse at other things. Like if you were trying to do Lucid, for example, on a Dawn Warrior, you might struggle more because now you don't have the Arcane Power. Or like if you wanted to do Will, for example, the Dawn Warrior will struggle a lot, right? You don't have the level bonus, you even have a level penalty, and you probably don't have enough Arcane Power, so you also will have an Arcane penalty. But then the Angelic Buster, especially when you reach 260, you get the level bonus, and you got the Arcane bonus, and you get your Origin. Now that character, just because of the levels, is going to have a huge advantage. So that's why it's a good idea. Well. Yeah, and the Sacred, once that starts rolling in, exactly. And then the Mastery Cores, right? Not just the Origin. So that's why I think it's a good idea when you're leveling a character or you're funding a character, just have an idea of like where do you roughly want the character to go. And you don't have to set it in stone, right? You still want to be flexible. But for example, if I do a hyper burn, now where I'm at with my character, if I do a hyper burn, I'm gonna get it to 260, you know, guaranteed. I want it to be able to do like hard Lotus solo, like in probably like around 5 minutes or less. That's probably the goal that I want it to be able to do in. Probably be able to do, technically be able to do hard Lucid and hard Will solo, but that's probably going to be annoying, so I'll probably duo it with someone. And then eventually through that, if I move into Arcanes with more Starforce, if I maybe hit a pitch here or there, if I get special rings, then maybe I'll be able to do like smaller party C10. So maybe like two men at the best, but probably like 3 or 4 men C10 like comfortably to, again, to within a half hour do all of C10 basically. That's kind of like the goal I'm thinking with those characters. But if it's like a 240, maybe I'm like, okay, I want to do slime and all the maybe I want to do like slime and all the bosses below, you know, within a half hour. If I go past 250, maybe I want to do like easy Lucid and easy Will and all the bosses below in around half an hour. So that's kind of how I'm thinking at it. And one little extra thing, of course, to consider is if you get, if you do get the G skills, if you end up having to run like 6 or 7 or 8 culverts per week, and it's only 2 minutes inside the culvert, but you have prep time, you have waiting for cooldowns, you have, there's a bunch of extra stuff, so you might have to. That's probably time on top of the half hour. So boss mule probably takes like 40 minutes or 45 minutes, eventually.
Yeah, and this is one thing that I don't want to do is have like feel like I have to do a lot of stuff in the game.
Yeah, so I would make add boss mules one at a time, and then just do that for a few weeks, and then see, do you still have plenty of time throughout the week? Do you still feel like you can add more? And if you can, then add one. If you're doubting, maybe just scale up your existing ones. Look at which one is fun, which one has potential, maybe which one got a few drops, maybe like a black bean mark, or you got a run from someone, or maybe someone got lucky and got a slime ring or something, right? And then you can see like maybe with these upgrades I can do a few more bosses or like higher level bosses, and then that's maybe the scaling up that you do without except for that's not adding a character, but that is adding pressure onto your weekly time basically.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I had some questions down there, right? If you check there, so one of the questions I have is, for example, I want at least to have like 2 boss mules that can do hard Lomin, right? So, and I'm wondering up to what level of investment do I need to kind of, have to, like, do I need to upgrade to Arcane Umbra, or do I need to like 21
Abso,
yep.
Yeah. So yes and yes, like those are both options. So for my account, what I'm looking at is I don't look at hard Lotus and hard Damien. I usually look at hard Lotus and normal slime, easy Lucid, easy Will, and then I just do normal Damien and all the stuff below. Because for most classes, even though hard Damien is around the same level of funding as hard Lotus, it just tends to take quite a bit longer because of him moving around, and then the blue balls in P2 can get annoying. So if I have Origin, then I probably will. If my character doesn't do Origin, then I usually don't do hard Damien. I just do normal, but then I scale up to easy Lucid and easy Will faster, because you want to look at how much money per time can you make, and not necessarily which bosses go together. Because why do other characters do hard Damien early on is because you want to get chances for the eye patch, or maybe a higher chance for the shield if you need it as a demon, or because you're trying to get carries because you want to get absolute gear on there, right? So that's why it's like a scale up. But if you're looking at purely from a boss mule perspective, then just because the boss is like the next one that shows up doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do that one. Or you can try it one time, right? See how long it takes, see if you enjoy doing the boss fight, and if you do like it, then do it. If you don't like it, then don't, right? It's good to know where you're at with a character, and if you can do it easily, or if it's a little bit more of a challenge. That's why every now and then, even when my character has been doing the same bosses for a while. Sometimes I'll try a harder one. Like recently I tried normal Darknell on my Buccaneer because I'm 255 and I can do Hard Lotus on there pretty well. And then when I'm thinking Hard Lotus, I'm also thinking, okay, that's kind of on the same level as normal Gloom. And normal Darknell has the same HP as normal Gloom, but normal Darknell is level 265. So there's a bigger level difference there. And so I tried to go into Darknell, and I did like a full burst, and it only took like 10% off. I'm like, no, I'm not, this is not worth my time. So I just left, and I go do other things. But it's good to double check every now and then to see like, is this something that I can, you know, do in my rotation, or is this a no-go? And maybe if it's a Thursday, you do go for it, and if it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday, you're like, never mind, I have other stuff to do, right? So it can also just be flexible in that regard. So general funding, I like 20-star Abzo gear, so 21 level 150 fodder into 20-star Abzo gear. It's cheap, it's fast, it's strong, really strong, but mostly a lot faster. Then it's about the same, or I would say stronger than 17 Arcane, with the exception of the weapon. So with my Fire Poison, I did that because, again, Hyper Burn, I wanted to do Hard Lotus and stuff be low, right? So kind of like where you're talking about level of funding. So my goal was to do 20-star, basically 21 all the fodder, right? So for Superior and for all the Abzo, and then just make 20-star everything. A lot of people say 20-star icky because it's 1 star off of 21 and it's so easy, but 21 is so easy, that's why I get it on the fodder, so I have it guaranteed on the higher level items. And then I went for cubing. I got really lucky with the cubing, so I actually ended up overfunding the character, I would say. You definitely don't need like 3-line stat on everything. I ended up getting 3-line on like 12 of my items or something, so I have the character's way too strong now. But I also decided to go for Liberation, so it ended up helping with that, the funding for that. And I decided not to go for the Arcane weapon. Like, I would definitely... so for the Cane, I did it a little bit differently. So I also went for the 20-star stuff. I went for the 21 belt like you did because I already had 2 belts. So I was like, fuck it, I might as well try. And that one went to 21. But then for the weapon, instead of doing 21 fodder into 20-star Abso weapon, I just... well, I tried for a while and then just ended up just buying the weapon for the character, which is, you know, a bit pricey, but just buy the 17-star Arcane weapon because I saw on my Fire Poison that a 20-star Abso weapon with a tier 6 flame is, I think, I don't know the exact amount, but it's around like 10 magic attack or so lower than a tier 5 magic attack Arcane without any stars.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how much the Arcane is stronger. So I was like, this was a waste of money. Like, that's not a good idea. Just save that money and just go straight up to Arcane. But also because...
Even considering the set equipment? Oh.
Yeah, even considering that, because they split it up, so it's like 10 boss and like 30 weapon attack, 30 magic attack extra or something. But like the Starforce on the Arcane just makes it so much better. Yeah, and then the potential will just feel better locking that in as well. And because of the flame could go even higher because of tier 6, and you have a lot of events as well, so you might as well... Sometimes you'll throw some eternal flames or some black flames on there that you have lying around. Maybe you even hit a tier 7 and get lucky, right? But my Fire Poison is living in September, so that's why I'm just keeping the Abzo on there, right? Not worrying about it. But if it was further away... because I did do a run and I got an Arcane weapon, I might as well just switch even like a 20-star Abzo just to a 17 Arcane, just because it's stronger enough to do it as an upgrade. So if you get that, and then you get potential-wise, yeah, probably just 2-line Legendary. You don't have to go like 24, 27, or 30, 33. Just like the 21s and the 20... and so either that, or you go 17 Arcanes, basically, and full 17 Arcane. That's roughly the same. So what I do is if I'm funding multiple characters to that point, I'll just kind of like do one like this and one like the other, because they're kind of the same. But I don't want to have to go for Abzo on all of my characters and hang on to all that fodder, right? And do all those dailies. But I also don't want to have to find exchange carries for Arcane every single week for all my characters. So I don't like having to do all of it. So I just kind of like do one half one way and one half the other way. And then because they're so similar.
Okay, gotcha. So
And then you get your
I
regular
guess for me
drops, right?
then,
The like
yeah.
the black bean marks and the maybe go for a tattoo, a Sweetwater tattoo. Maybe you don't. That's kind of like personal preference.
Nah, I'm not doing commercial. I did when I was playing regular, and I'm never
Mm-hmm.
doing that again. Uh, Especially because of the flame nerf, and yeah, I'm not no. I mean, there's always a reason, right? But yeah, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ended up getting
Uh,
lucky on my fire poison. I had one. I had like a little bit of arrows left, but I had like one pendant and one. I transposed the pendant and it got to 21 without boom, and I had a tattoo and it got to 21 as well without boom. So that character got lucky, and now I don't have to worry ever about more dominators. I don't have to ever worry about daybreaks. I don't have to ever worry about twilight. So I could just do my weekly boss stuff on it. But again, because of those things, it's probably overfunded now. It's actually kind of too strong. Like I blew up the Liberation Hard Lucid and had like 15 seconds left or something as a DPM character, and I don't have a special ring on it. So it was like, yeah, that character
yeah,
could have been a lot weaker, and it would be doing exactly the same things as it is doing now. So
all that with a 20 Absol weapon.
yeah, 20 episodes, yeah. Yeah, it's doing well.
But yeah. Oh, and so probably then the coins I have there, I'll probably then use them to get a weapon for my hero, probably because he's still a full set Absol. So yeah, just get him on our Arcane Umbra weapon. And last question is for the familiars. So I'm soon to 77, right?
Yeah.
And my question is, should I just, go back and farm on Burning Cernium, or should I try to, invest into drop gear for my hero to farm there,
Well, that goes back to the previous question. What is your goal with the hero? Like, what do you want him to be able to do?
Like I said, the goal with him is H-Lomin, right? So, or H-Lotus, at least for the damage Blackheart,
Yeah.
right? So that's the main goal for him for now.
Yeah, so I mean, 260. Like, I have some characters that are like 255 that are doing that for me in a reasonable amount of time. But you feel like your character still needs. Does he need more level? Does he need more funding?
Yeah, it is more funding because he's 17 Epso, pretty much,
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
all his stuff are like I think the glove is legendary, but the rest is pretty much unique, But all of those are, like I said, just trickle down from the cubes from the
Yeah, you won't need as much funding, right? Because once you have the 6 job and everything unlocked, that'll give you a huge power boost. Like this cane can do hard lotus. So I guess I could show you a little bit, but yeah. So I got just like 2-line attack on the emblem. There's 2-line attack, 1-line IED on the secondary, and the weapon is 2-line boss with 1-line attack and 17-star arcane. No like crazy flame, just a tier 6 and a little bit of stat. And then it's 20/20 on the Abzo, and then the belt 21, like I said, right? 20 earring. This pendant is still 17, and the other dominator here is also still 17, and the CRA is 21. But also with like you see 21%, 24%, 21%. And then I have an 18 mark and a 20 black bean mark. It's also, yeah, so like 15% dex here, 21%. This one is 20, 20, 1-line crit damage and a line of dex, 20, 21. So just capitalizing on like just, those 20 stars, boom, take it, Legendary, 21%, 24%, just take it and move on to the next item. The heart is also like 21%. So I could spend a lot on this, but since it's a bossing mule, you want to spend as little on it as possible and get the maximum benefits, right? So I got a slime ring, got it to 17, roll 2-line of dex with the free cubes, get the set bonus out of it, boom, extra 10% boss damage, 1 kind of treasure ring. Again, this one hit 996 on unique. Well, I'm keeping it unique. Like, I'm never thinking about getting this thing to legendary, right? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then a second kind of treasure ring went to 21. Boom's 20-star superior Gollux ring. And then this one was my event ring. It has critical damage and critical rate, which gives a little bit critical damage on the boost. But obviously I want to replace this eventually with one of the special rings, right? Because I'm a burst class, so if I can get a weapon jump or a roar or something, that would be huge damage increase for me. So that's where this guy is at, and that's about... What is that? Well, I don't have everything set here. Let me switch. Probably will make the combat power go up quite a bit. Or not. Oh, no, it won't. 49 mil?
Yeah, close to 50, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and invulnerability. But like by fire poison, for example, I think it's closer to like 75 to 80 or something. So that one is definitely like on another level. And that's...
Yeah, that's
pretty
my
much
main.
only... Yeah, that's pretty much only because of potentials. I don't know, I hit like a 36% shoe on there, and 33 on another item, and then 30% on, I think, 4 or 5 other items or something. So, you know, it just got super lucky. I was just going one item at a time, and I was aiming for 24. Basically what I do is I just buy a whole bunch of cubes, and then I just, you know, cube until I hit like 24 or 27, move on to the next item, until I get through all the items. And then I go back to the one that I have the lowest percentage, and that have the highest, you know, potential for growth, and then I just keep going and just see if I can bring them all up a little bit. But yeah, there were like 4 items that hit like 30 before I even saw 24, so I was like, okay, fine, move on. Like, sometimes life is like that. I'm not going to ask any questions, and I'm not going to be angry. I'm just going to move on. So, yeah. So I guess this funding would be... Yeah, I think this guy's at good funding, but so... Yeah, I'm looking at like, 17, you know, pendant, that's still unique. 17 here, 17, not even really using a 4th ring. But, you know, if he goes towards 260, if he maybe liberates, if he maybe gets a Oz ring, those are all things that can just happen without needing to spend any more money on it, right? So the other stuff is when I have events and I have spare nodes, I throw them on here. So this guy, like, his matrix is already pretty far as well. It's not done, not by far, but it's pretty far already. So that's also a big part of it. And then, of course, you have the invulnerability. For some characters, it's very important. For some characters, it's not that important. I was saving up for a long time. That's the other thing. If you have a boss mule, you're saving up for a long time. You're making money, but the character is also constantly getting resources to bring itself up, right? So you can, you know, when there are certain events or abilities, you can get stronger even without spending any money on it, because you get value just from playing the character. All this to say, to go back to the familiars, I think you definitely want to get familiars on this guy. You definitely want to get a large drop. All the way to tie it back to what I said in the beginning, right? If you're doing all the weeklies, that's great, and you have the drop rate gear, that's great. But right now, there's still quite a big gap in drop rate coming from lacking the familiars for like 50%, right? So yeah, you have a 50% here, but that could be 100%. So, you know, really crude maths, but if you like baseline 100% drop rate, you add like 350, you have 450%. If you get another 50, you have 500%. That means every... You know, what you do now in every... You basically work 10 weeks for 9 weeks worth of progress. Kind of. If you had the extra 50%, then you would get the progress you get now in 10 weeks and 9 weeks instead. So every year you get like an extra 5-6 weeks like for free, essentially. So that's the idea behind long-term progress, is to make that palatable, to even get pitch drops to try to upgrade, right? That kind of stuff. To get more Oz ring boxes, that kind of thing. So I would say that's definitely a priority for the main. So purely making epics until you have the large drop rate. Whether you want to do that with this guy or you want to do that with the hero, that's totally on you. Since you do want to get black hearts on the hero, you will have to get drop rate gear there eventually. So you could also kind of do both. But, you know, just to put into context, like with the funding of the characters that I have, I don't think you need levels on the hero to be able to get to that point. I think if you get the origin, unlock your 2 masteries, and just bring up the gear, bring up the matrix, bring up everything like evenly, then level-wise you're good. So if you want to do it for the grinding, I would rather do the grinding on your main. Why? Because then at least you get a little bit of EXP, you get money, you get nodes, you get fragments there. If you want to do just enough on the hero to maybe earn the fragments there and earn the energy there so you can unlock the 2 mastery skills and then move over to the main, that could work as well. But I don't know if you... Yeah, how many levels you feel like you want to or need to get on the hero versus the EXP would be better used on your main, I think.
Yeah, I don't think the hero needs any more EXP since the main goal was getting him like Origin, right?
Yeah, that's a huge power creep. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the. Oh yeah, and there's another question. So the fragments for the dailies, should I just do like a couple, like maybe a week on the hero just to get his mastery, or like it's
Yeah,
probably
that's
worth it, right?
yeah. I would say so. It brings up the origin and stuff like that, but it'll heavily reduce just for the hero. So when I think my hero was doing like 6 to 7k culvert, and then when I unlocked origin and now the 2 masteries, now I'm doing 12 to 13k, and all the other gear is the same. So it almost doubled my damage.
Just unlocking.
Just unlocking origin and level 1 of the 2 masteries. That's it. So it's super worth. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I did was like I bought the booster and then I kind of divided the booster over the characters. And I also did like Cernium dailies every day, and I kind of saw how many fragments I got from that, just to make sure that they all had like the 3 energy and the 50 fragments, so that I could unlock the 6 job skills, essentially like that. And now what I'm doing is, as long as I need, now I'm kind of dividing between the booster. The daily, I'm really just taking on the arc now, because I would try to move into normal Kaling and then into Sea Kalos, so I just need more juice there. But before I decided that, I was also kind of... in the beginning, I was dividing it more with the Demon Avenger, just to get them those base levels, just to unlock, the skills and to look at whatever Mastery Core or skill node, whichever one is super important, to get some more levels on there, at least like up towards level 9. Just get a little bit of feeling like I'm actually a 6-job character at level 280. Otherwise, it feels so weird being level 280 with just 3 skills unlocked and nothing else. But if it's a 260, yeah, I think alternating is totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, guess. Yeah, those were all the questions.
Because your Hexametric, so you had level 11, 12... Oh, you were a little higher already. 19 here, 15, 12. Yeah, okay, that's really nice.
Yeah, so I was following the previous one where the origin was the one to go, but then they nerfed the origin and they just I just stopped at 15.
And the second mastery came out, so you had to switch the priority probably.
Oh no! Before when the second mastery and the nerf to the origin came out on the Shadower, I looked into it and I lost 30% final damage on the origin itself.
Origin, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just so I just stopped leveling, and the level up of the origin is actually lower than the upgrades of the V Matrix skills.
Oh, okay, yeah. So now you have to kind of shift the priority. Yeah, the Fire Poison origin also got made a lot weaker, so whatever the optimal order of leveling them also shifted quite a bit. I mean, if you're introducing second mastery and you're doing some rebalancing, then yeah, you can imagine you might have to shift gears a little bit there. But yeah, it's fine.
So now I get to 30 both my masteries before even trending on the others, pretty much.
Nice. Yeah, it's like that. I saw the strongest Demon Avenger in the server has got everything 30 except for one skill is not even unlocked. One of the boost nodes, just because it doesn't work out like that mathematically. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's blast. You basically just use it to reduce incoming damage, to be able to tank attacks and to heal. So you really don't want to rely on it for damage. And then min-maxing your Hexa stat node is more important. So
definitely, especially with the low income of fragments, right? So yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah,
okay,
this was everything.
Yep. No, nothing that I mentioned or nothing that hasn't been addressed. All good?
No, all good. So I know where to go for now. The 5, 10, 15 is this week, right?
Yeah, this Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to maybe get the things to 21, so then I can just go straight to funding my Mules, because I don't like playing them for 2 hours to do the bosses.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I'll just do the bosses you can do within half an hour, and then what a lot of people do is like scale up and just do a whole bunch of CRAs until you start pushing characters further, you know, more vertically through the game, and then start scaling down on the amount of boss mules, but spend more time per boss mule kind of thing. There is the thing they did now in Korea, I guess a long-term thing to maybe think about.
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah.
the limit for, I think it was 12 crystals.
Yeah, 12 crystals per character, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
something
yeah.
to think about. We don't even know for sure if we're going to get that. I lean towards yes, but I'm definitely not 100% convinced because it has to do with prices and it has to do with crystals, right? So whether they're going to do that because KMS and GMS are so different now or are going to potentially be more different, like they told about the not doing the roadmaps anymore and everything. So yeah, just something to keep in the back of your head. And this Saturday is MMT for gloves. And then next skips one Saturday, and then August 10th is for accessories. And basically all the other items, so like emblems and stuff. So that could be a good moment. August 10th could be a good goal to get like, yeah, maybe more drop rate on the hero if you don't have it yet. Or to get like secondary, no, not secondary, sorry, get emblems to legendary on characters that you want to take, you know, Lotus and Damien or yeah, probably Lotus and Damien, or maybe beyond that potentially, just to get it to legendary, just to get a two-line legendary.
Yeah,
that might be a good day for that. And shoes is, yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do? Try to get decent haste? Like I don't know why they have that here separately, but yeah, it's something I guess.
but yeah, so yeah, I'll definitely think on the August 10 one. But for the gloves, since I'll most likely be doing the hammer transfer over, so getting the gloves pretty much will be a waste.
Yeah, if you have Abzu gloves already, and then maybe you can get like a line of critical damage, but if they're not Abzu yet, then yeah, it doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah, I do have one, right? But since I'll it's like I said, it's all 16, right?
Yeah, you're gonna go
So,
with 20 over it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So that's a bit bad timing then for you. No worries.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's always next 6 months, right?
Yes, exactly. In 6 months we go again.
Yep.
All right. Well, I wish you best of luck this Sunday.
Thank you.
Hopefully not too many booms. And yeah, if you have any
Hopefully.
remaining questions, just let me know. You would know where to find me.
Yep.
All right.
So, thank you very much.
welcome.
Have a nice day.
Yes.
And
you
good
too.
luck.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Right.
All right. Oh my god, a Discord update? No way. A Discord update, guys. All right. So hopefully people with similar questions or in a similar situation can use this session for some advice and for some extra general guidance in terms of what to focus on and you know, general order of upgrades, that kind of stuff. If you have any questions based on the session or just in general, you can leave them in the comments, or you can find me live over at Twitch, twitch.tv/Scardor. I stream there every day, and I answer any and all questions that might pop up. Some of them might seem irrelevant, or you might think they are not important, but if they're important to you, then they're important enough to be asked. If you need any of the resources, we didn't use that many here, but if you need any of the resources, you can check !info in the chat over at Twitch, and you can basically get a list of all of the resources that I have available, and you can use all of those. Those are available for everyone, including when I'm offline, so you can use these to get a whole bunch of information on the game. And if you have follow-up questions, just ask me when I'm live, and I'll get to it. This was one of the sessions I give away for free every month, and there's been 3 other ones that we're hopefully going to be planning soon. I reached out on Discord, so make sure you check your Discord DMs and your friendship requests if you won, or if you won, check the previous post on YouTube to see. I wrote the winners there in the title of the post, or not in the title, in the description, up in the description of the post. But if you want one of these coaching sessions for yourself as well, check !coaching in the Twitch chat, or check the description of the video, and there you can see how you can get one of these sessions with me as well. It doesn't have to be public. It can also be in private. It can be shorter. It can be longer. Whatever you need to get help, to get unstuck, or just to pick my brain, just to get any kind of advice or any kind of one-on-one time with me to hopefully figure out whatever issues you have and how you can get unstuck in the game or anything of the sort. All right, thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully it was useful. Check out another one or check me live on stream over at Twitch. Or see you next time.